Hey everyone, this is P4L, and today's P4L review will be doing a quick installation guide for an upgrade kit from a good friend of mine on the TFW 2005 boards, Paul 5409. If you guys recall, in my Quakewave comparison video, I talked about how the new versions of Quakewave that have come out feature this blinking eye, which I don't really like. I think most people don't like. And then I don't like this segmented hose here. I just think it doesn't look accurate to the character and what I really liked about the original Quakewave release. So yeah, so Paul felt the same way, and he put together a nice little kit that he's selling on the boards for about $10. I think $10 per shipping or $10 shipped. I'm not really sure. So what this will do, this kit comes with 2 LEDs of your choice that will allow you to change the eye to a color you want, as well as change the Canon LED to a color you want, and then also replace the hose with a solid cable, as well as give you enough cable to actually allow you to do 2 lengths of cable, or maybe even more, so that when you transform this guy into his Canon mode, his or blaster mode, you can have a shorter cable that you can swap out very easily without having to do any disassembly or anything like that. Alright, so let's go through the contents of the kit really quick. So, oops, everything just kind of fell out there. So it comes with 2 LEDs. This kit in particular that I'm installing, that I requested from Paul, comes with a yellow flat top LED as opposed to the curved one that comes stock. And then it also comes with a blinking red Canon LED for his arm. I'm not actually going to install that one because I actually like the solid on the Canon, but I do want a yellow one. This one in particular, he painted the tip kind of a creamy yellow is what he's calling it, that he believes is the best looking version of the eye. You do get a length of solid core cable. Oh, I'm not solid core, this is actually stranded, sorry. This one is stranded cable. And it's just any kind of cable, electronic cable that you would get in the store. I'm not really sure what gauge this is or anything like that, but it's perfectly suited for this purpose. The original Quakewave cable did have actual wire in it to allow you to kind of move it around and have it hold a pose. This one does not, so it's just all rubber, and I think that is actually a downgrade. And then there's a little small grommet here which you're going to use to hold the cable into the arm and make it a very clean finish. Just to give you a bit of warning, this will require for the LED installation some soldering skills. And when I say skills, I mean very bare minimum skills. You basically just need to desolder and resolder to a couple of wires, and that's really it. I'm going to turn this off because I think it's hypnotizing me a bit. But everything else is pretty straightforward, alright? So let's go ahead and start off with the Canon installation. Then we'll go to the hose, and then we'll go to the LED eye, okay? So to get started with the arm, you're just going to need a screwdriver, and you're going to need to remove 3 screws, or maybe more depending on which arm setup you have set up. So you're going to need to remove 1, 2, 3. I've already done that here. And while you're at it, you might as well go ahead and uninstall the screw that is in here. I've taken it out. It's a really small screw. The only size screwdriver that I had that would fit is the 00 size. So it's the smallest size I have. And to be very careful, mine was in very tight, and it just goes slowly just to make sure you don't strip that. Honestly, you don't even need a screw here. I don't really know why they included it, because they have some other mechanism in place to make sure it stays there. So once you have that done, you'll split the arm, and you can keep the forearm on. And you'll see this is how the cable is attached to. We'll actually disassemble that now. You just pull this off, and then the backpack, it's connected via just glue. So you can just twist it or pull it gently, and it'll come off. And then it'll have some glue residue. If you want to clean that out, you can. I didn't bother, but there goes the cable. As for the rest of the Canon assembly, the tip is actually a separate piece, like that. So you just pull that off gently. And then with that screw undone, you can pull it out of where it resides. See, like it fits snugly in here, so the top and bottom half are secured in place by the forearm anyway, so I don't really know why they felt the need to include a screw. But anyway, you can pull it out of the forearm. Be very gentle because the cables, the little wires are a little short. Once you do that, you can actually split that, and you'll see the LED seated. Zoom in a little bit. The LED is seated inside the plastic, and then it's connected with the live and ground wire. So like I said, I'm not going to replace mine just because I actually want mine to be solid, but this replacement one will just fit in the same exact way, and you'll just snip off a little bit of this to fit in here, and then you'll just use your soldering iron to desolder these wires, and then solder this back on. And just remember, the longer side is the quote-unquote live side, or the signal side, and then the shorter side is the ground. And I apologize for my clearing my throat, I'm still a little sick. And then once you have that done, you just go ahead and reassemble everything. So the wires here do have a channel at the bottom, so just make sure the wires get back into place there. And there's a little lip at the front here that holds that LED in place, so just make sure that is done correctly. And then you'll just close this up. You'll have it seated back in here. Get the tip and just push it back on. And then you can close up the arm and the screw here. Close up the arm and replace those 3 screws. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm going to jump right into the cable installation. So give me 1 second to zoom out. So the cable installation is very, very simple. First thing you're going to want to do is to decide how long you want your cable to be. So just cut your cable to length. I've already done that here. I basically cut it to about the same size as the original cable, and you can just use that with, even a pair of scissors would be fine, but if you have clippers or something like that, that works just as well, probably a bit better. And to install this, let's get this out of frame. To install this, you're going to take the grommet, and you're going to look for where the cable sits in, and you're just going to plug that in. You'll see the grommet has a bit of a gap. It's like a donut that has a cutout on the side, and you're just going to fit it in like this and close it up, close up the arm, and now we can replace the screws. And I'm not gonna have you sit through that. Alright, so I've gone ahead and installed the screws into the forearm. And now it's as easy as plugging this in and then coming to the backpack and plugging it in here. And the size of the cable is perfect for a really snug fit that it's going to be difficult to actually show off, I guess, how snug it is, but it's not going to come off by itself. You're going to actually have to tug on it. It won't come off through transformation or anything like that. For the backpack, if you want to apply a little bit of hot glue, you could do that. But I'm not going to do that just because I like the option of being able to switch the cable when you transform. And I'll show that off later because it gives you a decent amount of cable where you're going to be able to get at least 2, if not 3 different lengths of hose out of there. And already you can see how much cooler this looks than this stupid segmented one, which I really hate. Okay, so the next thing I want to show off is the installation of the iLED. And you're just going to come back to the back of the head. Let's scan up a bit. And there's 2 tiny screws that hold the head together. And if you'd already installed the batteries in the head, you know how this works. But just in case you didn't, you just unscrew these 2. Oh, well, there goes one. There goes the other. And then you just separate the front and back of the head. The back of the head is the only thing you need. Let's put this off to the side right now, because that's where all the electronics are housed. And you can see from when I zoom in, the LED just sits on this little platform and is soldered in place in 2 places. So there's one here and one here. And it's just soldered to a couple wires there. All you need to do is desolder them and then pull this off. It's not held into place or anything like that. And then reinstall the creamy one, or flat top one, whichever one you have, and then and resolder it. And again, for this LED, you're going to have the live side or signal side, the long side, on, I guess, the top of the head, and then the black wire going to the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and desolder and solder that back on and show you guys what it looks like afterwards. So real quick, just wanted to show you what it looked like once I desoldered the wires. You can see the black wire is just hanging out over here, and then the red wire is hanging out over here, which was connected here. Okay, so the other thing I did, so this was kind of situated like this. Come on, there we go. What I did was, where'd that other LED go? Oh, here it is. So what I did once I took this off was I tried to replicate just the actual shape. So I cut the leads to length, and then I bent this one to look like the other one, so that when I situate this one, because there's actually a little kind of slot on one side where you can push down the one lead, and that kind of holds it in place. And this is what it will look like. I'm just going to go ahead and solder this back, and then solder this onto here, and it should be good to go. Alright, so I'll be back in another minute. Alright, and we're back, and showing you guys off my mediocre soldering skills. You'll see that the black wire is soldered to that side, this bent lead is soldered to that side. I tested it. It looks like so. We can bring in our Quakewave. Zoom out a bit. Scroll up a bit. Make sure it fits without issue. I'm not sure why there would be. I'm not gonna put in the screws for now. So this actually looks really nice. I was kind of doubting his recommendation for this creamy orange, but it does look really, really nice. This is it without the light on. And looking at it, it looks really good because let's see, can I focus in on that? It's really deep in there, but because it's flat, it actually is flush with the socket. It's gonna be really tough to focus. Just that. Yeah. It's gonna be really hard to show, but yeah, maybe that's the best angle I can get for now. But it actually does sit flush against the socket there, so it doesn't stick out, which is a really nice bonus for the LED. So I would recommend the flat version that he's selling, and the solid eye. Alright, so the last thing I want to show is, because these are very easily removable, when you transform him into alt mode, you can have a shorter cable if you'd like, or even if you installed the rotatable arm one, you can have, you know, a different length for that, and that way you can have a Quakewave in both modes and not have to worry about one being too long and one being too short. So let's go ahead and get this guy transformed, and I'll cut another length of cable to be a bit shorter, and I'll show you how that works. So here we have Quakewave with our new hose installed, and it doesn't look bad, right? The cable's not too long, but it's a little longer than you might want for your alt mode. It's probably a perfect size for your robot mode, but again, when you have the option, how about we just unplug it? And again, these fit pretty snugly. I cut a length that is considerably smaller, maybe 3/4 the size or something like that. So I cut a shorter cable, and as you would imagine, all you have to do is plug them in to both sides, and you have a shorter cable. I mean, it's a very small thing, but it's nice that you can do it at, you know, zero the cost, because you're going to get enough length to do that. And since it's so easy, you know, you don't have to disassemble anything. It's just all held in by friction, unless you want to glue it in. It's a very easy swap, so it's not a headache to do if you want to transform him back and forth in between the two modes and have cables that look a little bit better. Alright, so yeah, that's the last thing I wanted to show you guys with this set. So let's go ahead and get this guy transformed and get to final thoughts. So finishing off with final thoughts, I really like this upgrade kit just because, one, it's super cheap, you know, $10 is shipped. Might be a little bit more. It might be $10 plus shipping. I don't recall at this time, but for about 10 bucks to get rid of this ugly hose and to get a nice clean looking one that you can actually pose and position the way you want, and actually have enough for a second hose for a shorter hose or cable in this alt mode, having a nice solid LED eye and a flat one too. Like I said, when this is off, the eye sits exactly flush with the actual opening in the head, so you don't have a kind of a bulb sticking out, which I think I guess minded it before, because I never really noticed it before. So maybe you don't really need it if you never noticed it before, but now that I see it, it looks so much better to have this flat eye than that bulb sticking out. And the kit is really well thought out and planned. Like I said, it sticks in really well to the arm, and if you want, you can glue it in if you wanted to. But it goes in enough where it sticks in really well there, sticks in well here. You can still, you know, throw on the backpack and close that up, and you won't have any issues with that. And yeah, again, you'll have your option for how long you want the cable to be. I didn't install the LED, but if you want a blinking LED, you'll have that option as well. And he has a ton of different options for not only just the LED color or blinking effect, for either of these, but also the cable color, so you can really customize it. He's really into this like white LED eye, white blaster, and white cable. I have no idea why. You know, I guess G1 be damned, he's gonna do what he wants. But it really allows you to customize Quakewave to your specific liking, and I think it works really well. And again, it's really easy to do. You need minimal soldering skills, and it really does let you customize your shockwave to be more what you would like. So this is going to be my setup. I think the only thing I might do is change it off for the solid hands, and I think he's going to get some purple LEDs too, and I might replace that on the Canon arm, because that seems the most accurate for his blast too, not this reddish thing. So looking forward to that. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. If you want to pick up this kit, I'll provide a link to Paul 5409's thread on TFW 2005. And if you want to pick up Quakewave and any of his reissues or the Toon Color or Toy Color that that recently came out, you can go ahead and get them from Toy Dojo, the sponsor of this video, as always. Alright? Keep up to date with all my news and reviews by subscribing, or follow me on Facebook at P4L Reviews. Alright? That's all for today, everyone. Have a good one.